Hello everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. And since August it's almost over, it's time for the pickups of the month. And let me tell you, I have to say, after the huge deal in July with the free PS3 and everything, I didn't expect this month to be um, this good. I mean, I managed to get a lot of interesting stuff, and like always, I divided my pickups between movies and various DVDs and games. So let's just start it since there is quite a lot of stuff and there is a lot to talk about this. Let's just start with, like usual, with movies and DVDs in general, but movies first. Managed to gather four movies, very interesting and really looking forward all of these. And let's start with Pandorum. Very curious about this horror sci-fi or horror thriller sci-fi kind of movie. Never watched this. I heard something about it, not much. I have to say, I didn't uh, particularly. I wasn't looking for this, but I heard talking about this. I was thinking like I like sci-fi horror movies, something like Alien. Why not? I don't know if it's the same thing or there's no monsters, but kind of interesting for a good night of movie night. I'm really looking forward to look at this. Having a chill, I hope, and very curious for Pandorum. Next, I love classic movies among many others, and also films noir. Recently, say a month ago, maybe a couple of months ago, yeah, I watched Brick, which is a great modern version of a film noir but set in high school and was very good. And after I saw that, I started to think, well, I would like to see another film noir. I really like that genre. And for that reason, after watching a Kurosawa movie, Drunken Angel, which his crime movies are really noir-ish in a way, especially some like Stray Dog. But after that, say I was looking for another one, and I couldn't turn my back on this great classic, Chinatown. I mean, it's a very, very famous movie. Even though I never seen it, I know it by name. I mean, it's such a famous movie with Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. Really curious because it combines my love for both classics and noir movies. So can't wait to see this. Really, really curious for Chinatown. And then a great blockbuster. I wanted to see this movie, and when I saw it for the price that I saw it, because in total for these three movies I spent £10, which is kind of ridiculous. It was like three, four, something like that. And I couldn't. I always been curious about Prometheus. Very, very curious about this since I love the Alien saga. Not so much the fourth movie, but from one, two, and three are fantastic. Two, of course, it's the best, but at least in my opinion. And I was very curious when Prometheus was announced. Everyone was talking about the next Alien movie, since Ridley Scott and sci-fi equals Alien. And but I didn't manage to go and see it at the cinemas because I wanted to go with a friend of mine, and he was like, I heard about it. Apparently, it's not good. I don't want to see it anymore. So I was like by myself, and I wanted to go anyways. Like, who cares? It's just for a movie. But at the end, I was lazy and say, oh well, I bought the DVD. I will buy the DVD in the future, and there it is. So I can finally watch Prometheus. I'm very curious. I heard that it's a sequel. It's coming, so maybe it wasn't that bad, but who knows? Very curious for Prometheus. Can't wait. I mean, it must be awesome. It's Ridley Scott doing sci-fi again, so it must be good. And the last movie, I'm trying to speed up a little because I can talk for so much for all these movies, but the final one, it's an anime movie actually, and I'm a huge fan of Akira Kurosawa. I was thinking about that, of Miyazaki, trying to collect the most of these movies. The problem is, I don't know why, here in the UK, the Studio Ghibli movies are quite expensive. And every time I manage to see a Studio Ghibli movie under the £10, I have to grab it because it will not last for long. I mean, usually there are 11, £15. It's insane how expensive Miyazaki is. And when I found Kiki's Delivery Service for £7, I was like, I have to take it, and I grab it immediately. I didn't expect to buy it, but it was probably the only couple of days that it was that cheap in a way, because it's still kind of expensive for an anime movie of 1989. I mean, oh, come on. But I don't know what it is. I mean, I can understand it. It's Miyazaki, it's very famous, it's becoming very, very popular even here in the UK. And I always wanted to see this movie. It looks very cute from the cover. I heard very, very good things about it, but it's a Miyazaki movie. It has to be good. It will be good, I know it. And that's it for the movies. As I said, these four movies were such a good deal for this in my local DVD store in London. But then something happened I didn't expect it. As I told you, I went to Toronto for a week recently, and it was so great buying things over there because the price there are amazing if you're coming from the UK. It's so cheap, and I went in a HMV in a mall there and looked and found so many good things. So I started and I found a really interesting anime that I like this series in a way, not all of it, but most of it. And when I saw it, it was very convenient in price. It wasn't expensive, and I really wanted to see this because it's the only actually series that I haven't watched yet, and it's Tenchi Muyo GXP. And I like the Tenchi Muyo series, especially the original OVAs and the best is by far Universe. I didn't like very much at all actually Warren Geminar, what it's called. At the point that like halfway through the series I stopped watching it because it annoyed me so much. Then Tenchi in Tokyo, or what it's called, Tenchi in Love, I don't remember. I didn't like the art, at least of the first episode, so it didn't really mm, manage to catch my attention. And I started reading about GXP. It sounds funny, the idea of this unlucky guy from Earth recruited by the Galaxy Police. And I love the humor of the Tenchi Muyo series, especially from Universe. That was hilarious. The original series, like the first part, it's very good and very funny. The second part, a little slower in a way. And I haven't watched all the movies, but the first was good, and I am looking for the others. The problem is with the Tenchi series is very expensive, at least on Amazon. I haven't checked eBay, I have to be honest, not recently at least. I found this was a good price, especially this save edition. I never heard of this, but I saw a couple of animes from this thing, and I'm just hoping that since it was not very expensive, that the quality it will not be bad, but we'll see. I'm very curious about it. I always wanted to watch GXP. I finally found it for a decent price, and I can wait to watch it and have a good laugh with the Tenchi universe. And then I move on to animated series. Big fan of that, of course. And I couldn't miss Naturally when I found that the DVD was available. Maybe I'm a bit late. I don't care. The important thing is to have it. Legend of Korra Season 2 Spirits. I'm a huge fan of the Avatar, Last Airbender, and Korra since it started, basically. I watched for the first time Legend of Aang when I was in high school, years ago now, and I love it from the first second. And I collected all of the DVDs and everything. Now I just finished to watch recently the third season of Korra Change. I think it was great. Season 2 I watched it online, but finally bought the DVD. Can't wait to watch it again. And I liked Season 2. It's very controversial in a way. Fans weren't 100% happy with it. I have to be honest, I love the beginning and the end. The ending was fantastic. Spectacular battle, I have to say, between Korra and Batu. The middle of the season was a bit slow and sometimes a bit annoying, but overall I think it's a great season. I prefer this to season 1, even though season 3 it's clearly the best to me so far. Season 3 was awesome. But can't wait to see more Korra. And then I went into I I don't know how it happened. Well, I kind of know how, but I went into a Teen Titans uh, trance, if you can call it that. Like I really want to see some Teen Titans, as I am a big fan of the original Teen Titans Go series. That was awesome. Again, um, back in high school was another of the series that I used to watch regularly, and I never managed to find the DVDs. They weren't, maybe, I don't think they were released here in Europe, probably, but now you can buy it online. And when I was in Toronto, I couldn't resist. It was so cheap. And I bought season 1 and season 2 of Titans Go, and I will buy the next 3 seasons on Amazon. They're not very expensive. These are awesome. Season 1, it's mainly an introduction of the main characters and the main villain, Slade, which is Deathstroke. Amazing villain. Season 2, it's focused mainly on Terra, the fantastic Judas Contract arc. So good. And this is basically the series, I have to say, that mm, made me more curious about American comics, because in high school, middle school and high school, I was really into manga, not really graphic novels, simply because they were a bit more expensive and I couldn't spend all that money on comic books. But this series really brought me into like Teen Titans, Justice League, Justice Society, all those kind of things. Not as much as manga again, but here and there I usually used to buy some graphic novels. This is a great series, by the way. If you haven't watch it because it's great. And speaking of Teen Titans, when the 5th season, which is the final one, ended back then, years ago now, I started to look on the internet for more information regarding a possible 6th season that will never happen, or something new with the Titans, because it's such a great series. And after a while, I started to lose hope, but then a new series was um, announced. But when I started looking into the details, I wasn't so happy about it, because it read like super deformed character. It's more of a comedy. It's nothing to do with the show. I was like, what is that? And I ignore it until recently, completely randomly. I have to add. I mean, I didn't expect this. On YouTube, I saw some segments of this show, and I couldn't resist. Teen Titans Go Season 1, Part 1, the new series focused on the Teen Titans. And let me tell you, this is amazing. I didn't expect it. I didn't see this coming. This is so much fun. It's insanely funny. Especially if you are a Teen Titans fan, watch this. Because I expect something for kids, something very stupid, and in a way it is stupid, but it's a very fun show. It reminds me in a way Adventure Time, kinda. I mean, I never saw Adventure Time, probably I should, but um, the the art style, the kind of jokes and humor, it's all like adult jokes. It's all like references and dark humor, all kind of stuff. I mean, this is a must, I think, for superhero parodies. I mean, this is just great, and I can't wait. Already saw the first half. I couldn't resist, and it's hilarious. The way they portrayed characters like Robin in this, that in the original show is so serious and the perfect leader and everything. It almost annoyed me sometimes. Here is so much fun. Robin is hilarious, for example, or Raven, my favorite characters from the original show. Starfire, Cyber, Beast Boy, they're all insanely funny. So I cannot wait to buy the second part of season 1, and I hope that this series is have a good success, so it can continue, because it's fantastic. Must watch this. And that's it for DVDs. I mean, as you can see, a good pile of stuff. I have a lot of watching to do in the future. Let's just move out of the way. And you can see there's a bit of everything, like movies, TV series, like animated show, anime, everything. Let's move on to games, because in Toronto, a sort of tribute and homage to the Canadian YouTubers that I used to watch, like Happy Console Gamer, Imprimis, and others, like Fem Troopers. I finally saw EB Games, because of course I'm European. I never saw a EB game in my life, and I always heard about this place. I was curious. I mean, it's nothing special. It's basically GameStop games, whatever. It's your usual video game store. But it was kind of funny to see, oh, there it is, the thing that like Johnny and others talking about. And of course, I had to buy some games. And with this very, um, this dangerous, I have to say, um, thing that for if you're coming from the UK, things are so cheap, are so not expensive. It was very dangerous for me. I could have bought like a Wii U or something, but I was a good boy. I managed to buy only two games for like $40. That is just £20, and it's not just two games, because the first one that I bought, it's actually a trilogy in one shot. The Mass Effect trilogy. I couldn't resist. I always wanted to play this. I always wanted, like, when I have my PS3, I will buy Mass Effect. There you go, the entire trilogy in one shot. And wow, I cannot. I had a lot of gaming ahead of me. By the way, I still don't have a television with me for my PS3, and I keep buying games. I cannot help it. It's such a strong temptation. And when you walk into a game, you saw this for $20, which are £10. I mean, it's not a surprise that I bought it, but can't wait to play the Mass Effect trilogy. Finally, I can play Mass Effect. Like, this is the definitive sci-fi game. So curious about it. Can't wait, and I cannot play it now. And then again, I couldn't resist. This is another series that I am so curious about it, because years ago I played on my PC a certain game that I really liked and freaked me out like never happened, basically. Even play Resident Evil 2, that it's more like a corny or campy horror in a way. I wasn't really, I never been really scared by playing Resident Evil, but that game, which was called System Shock 2, really, it was so creepy, it was so good, and I couldn't resist. I have to buy Bioshock, and in order to play also 2 and Infinite, because I really want to play this trilogy. I couldn't resist. It was so cheap, it was so not expensive, and I have to say, buying games online, it's fun, but it will never be as good and fulfilling than buying in a shop, because it's very different. You're touching the product. It's not just with the mouse. And also, while I was paying for these two great games, the guy at the cashier was selling, when he saw that I picked Bioshock, he was like, "Oh man, that is such a great game! I love it. It's my favorite game from the previous generation. That's an awesome choice." And it's so nice, and I can't wait to play this game. My God, finally I have Bioshock. It's awesome. But then it's not over. After these two, I decided to go for some retro stuff and move to the NES, because I mean I will always buy NES games. I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite consoles of all time. It's the console that like started it all. I mean, I'm a gamer because I played it on the NES. And in Toronto, I found a really strange, shady shop that had everything from like things for like street art, skateboarding, uh, stuff like that. It was very weird, because I thought it was a game, like a used a shop for used games. But then I saw it has an entire collection and boxes of all games, like NES, Super NES, Nintendo 64, and something, and Sega Master System. I was like, this is awesome. Let's check the prices. Let's check the games. There were so many, and I couldn't decide. There were so many games. I mean, a box. there was also a box game, but those were expensive even in Canadian dollars. So I couldn't buy. There was a so tempting. There was Dragon Quest One, perfectly boxed, but it was like $100. I mean, that bit too much. But then I found Ninja Gaiden 2. I already have the first one. I never played the second one, so I'm very, very curious about it. I love the Ninja Gaiden series on the NES. Even though they are insanely difficult, I cannot wait to play the second one, and in the future, the third one. So it's called The Dark Sword of Chaos. Very curious. I remember like the review from the Angry Video Game Nerd that its main complaint with this game, in terms of difficulty, it's the certain levels are very difficult, like with ice or darkness. Can wait for a nice NES challenge. There's a reason why the term NES Tough exists. The next game that one of the two, so we're almost at the end, but one of the games that I bought when I came back to London. Again, another NES game, and I am so happy to have this. Finally, I have this game because I played this game as a kid years ago, probably 20 years ago or something like that. I don't remember. But having this, finally having this, it's so great. Motherfucking Batman. I love this game. This is one of my favorite games for the NES. I remember playing this because a friend of mine owned it, not me. And talking about difficult, challenging games, I mean, this game is very hard, but it's so good. I mean, it's fantastic music. What was that? Anyways, the music, the challenge, the graphics, everything was so good in this game. Sunsoft really did an amazing job. This is, I think that before the Arkham games, for the new generation now, PS3 and Xbox and everything, this was probably the best Batman game ever made. And it's still a great game. I mean, after I watch James and Mike play this game, I have to buy it. I have to buy this game because it was so good seeing watching them playing a game from my childhood that I used to love, and I couldn't buy it because I couldn't. It was hard for me getting games. I mean, I couldn't buy it, and my parents were really strict. I mean, it was like basically one or two games per year, like everybody else usually in those years. And finally, the final item that I managed to gather this month, and it arrived only like a couple of days ago in the mail, but I'm so glad to have this, even though I cannot play this, because it's a Japanese exclusive for the Game Boy Color. But I didn't care. It was for a very good price. Unfortunately, it's boxed. I'm glad to have the box, even though it's not in excellent condition, but I don't care. I'm just happy to have this because I want all the games of this series. It's a series that I love very much, and the game is Grandia Parallel Trippers, the Game Boy Color Grandia game, and was released exclusively for Japan. It's supposed to be a pretty weird game, like with cards and stuff like that, and also the story is basically, from what I understand, listening to Johnny Millennium, was like about this Earthling kids going into the Grandia world. I mean, that was a bit weird, but I don't care. I cannot play because I don't even have a Game Boy Color with me here. So, but that wasn't the point. The point is I love Grandia. The first one is one of my favorite games of all time. I love the second one, even though I played for a couple of hours because my PS2 isn't with me, and I have the Dreamcast version. I cannot wait to play that. But I want all the games in the Grandia series, and Parallel Trippers. It's such a weird idea, a weird concept, and it's exclusively for Japan that I want it just for my collection. Uh, Usually I don't buy every kind of game or for every systems. It's just, as a collector, I love to find games of series that I love, basically. Games that I like to play, that I think that I'm going to enjoy, and with Grandia, there's no mistake. It's one of my favorite games of all time, the first one. And I always wanted all the games. So I found a weird one. So the next one that I need is the third one and Extreme, the two games for the PS2, and can't wait to play those on the other hand. But for the time, it's a nice addition, the Parallel Trippers on my collection. And with this really curious and awesome item, That's it. Managed to gather a lot of stuff between movies, TV shows, and games. Some really, I'm so happy for these PS3 games, but also cool NES. And Parallel Trippers was just an amazing way to conclude the pickups of the month because it's such a weird item, but I love the series so much. So I have a lot of movies to watch, series, a lot of games to play. I mean, when when I'll finally manage to get a TV, I will. I think I will stay in this home for like a month or something because I have so many games on the PS3 that I need to play now. I mean, the entire Mass Effect trilogy, BioShock, what else? Nier and Final Fantasy 13. I mean, all these games. For now, I'm probably gonna stop buying PS3 game because I can play them in any way. So it's kind of pointless, but in both cases, I was into a shop, and there's nothing better than finding games that you love into a video game store now. So, great pickups. I'm very happy with this thing, and like always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you like this video, and take care.